Well, today we're going to talk about frugal fatigue, what it is, and how it can derail your financial goals. Hi everybody, my name is Burks and this is Retirement Rescue, where we talk about how to make money, save money, and create a retirement from nothing. Well, we have talked about being frugal quite a bit because that is one of the best ways to reach your retirement goals. But there is a reality of something called frugal fatigue. Now, frugal fatigue is actually just the idea that you are working so hard to reach these financial goals and you are so focused, you just get tired. It is hard to constantly be worrying about money, to constantly be focused on what you need to do, and sometimes you just want to go blow some cash. Now, being frugal can be a really positive thing. It does a lot of good in your life. But we really have to understand that emotions play into us meeting our goals. And when we hit that point of frugal fatigue, that means our emotions need a release. And so many people over the course of their lives have used spending money as emotional release. You know, we often joke and kid about retail therapy, but it's a real thing. When you go and spend money, some of us feel that a little bit of high. We feel excited. It's exciting to go get something. And then we get home and we have that letdown. It is a temporary emotional release is all that is. So what do you do if you get to the point where you think you're frugal fatigued? First, you need to understand that frugal fatigue shows itself in some pretty specific ways. And the first of these ways is you just stop caring. You don't want to check in on your finances anymore. You're just tired of looking at it. You just stop caring. The second way that's really obvious is you start to binge spend. And you'll notice yourself doing this. You'll think, you know what? I deserve a night out. And you go and you spend $100 or $150 on a really nice meal. And you get home and you think, why did I do that? Was it really that great? And look what it did to my budget. And you start to wonder, why am I sabotaging myself? That binge spending is indicative of the fact that you've got a little bit of frugal fatigue. You can think of it like dieting. When you've been on a diet for a while, even when you're doing really well, sometimes you'll find yourself wanting to eat a whole package of Oreos. Or you're halfway through the whole package and think, what am I doing? That's the same thing. It's an emotional reaction to these long-term goals that you've set that are feeling restrictive. And so that is the second way you recognize that, hey, you've got a little frugal fatigue. You start binge spending on occasion. The third indicator is you feel stressed or even depressed about money, even though you're starting to reach your financial goals, but you're really stressed about it. Maybe you're hitting frugal fatigue. And the last way is you suddenly feel like you're missing out. All these things that you were doing in order to meet those goals you have now feel punitive, like you're being punished somehow. So how do you fix it? Well, I've got 4 ways you can help yourself and still meet those financial goals. And the first one is plan for special rewards. Plan to reward yourself. Don't keep your spending so restrictive that you feel like you're in jail. Plan for cheat days. Plan for things. That way you have something to look forward to. It helps you to get to that point without binge spending and still allows you somewhat of an outlet. Plan for those things and budget for them. And the second way is set aside money for fun. For some reason, when we get in that hyper-focused mindset of, I've got to reach these humongous financial goals, we eliminate the fun from our lives. You have got to set aside some money and some time to go and have fun. Even if it's just going down and getting some gelato and watching the clouds float by. You have got to set a little bit of money in your budget to have fun. It is absolutely, purely emotional. You've got to reward yourself a little bit for doing well. You have got to keep your emotions on board with what you're trying to do, or they'll start fighting you. So treat your emotions to a little bit of fun. Number 3, see if your goals need to be tweaked a little bit. It is great to have these great big goals, but some of those goals take years and years. There are some times that you do need to tweak those goals so you improve your life in a substantive way while still reaching those goals. Let me give you an example. I've talked quite a bit about my oldest child and that she recently relocated to an apartment that was closer to work. The apartment was more expensive. She was staying in her previous apartment specifically to get her student loans paid down and was doing a great job. However, she was living in a hovel that was 30 minutes from work. It was nuts. So just by rearranging a few things in her budget, she was able to get a better apartment, closer to work, dramatically improve her quality of life without having to commute so far, without having to live in a hovel. She now has a beautiful apartment on the 4th floor. And it is so improved her emotional well-being that it's much easier for her now to pay those goals off. Yes, they're being paid off at a little bit slower rate, but not much. So you really have to weigh, is it worth getting those bills paid off a little bit quicker, or can you improve your quality of life and maybe add some other income in? It doesn't have to be one or the other, but having a good quality of life is important while you're trying to reach your goals. And number 4, you've got to allow some creativity and flexibility when you're trying to meet those goals. When we write things down and okay, this is how we're going to do it. We're going to reach our goals this way, and it's going to be A, B, C, 1, 2, 3. And we really get rigid, and I mean rigid. We don't think about ways we could earn money. We don't think about ways we could shuffle things around. We just get really rigid. And you've got to allow yourself to be creative, to really think about those goals on a regular basis and say, okay, is there a better way I can do this? You know, am I going to be able to meet these goals and improve parts of my life in other ways? You've got to ask yourself those questions and allow some flexibility. Now, frugal fatigue or frustration on the way to meeting our goals happens to us all. The real trick is to recognize it and alter what you're doing a little bit just so it doesn't take over your life and ruin your goals completely. Now, if you've enjoyed this video, please click subscribe, and I'll see you next time.